beep, 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 beep. Morning. Welcome to the court of the Edijester. How are we doing, good people? We're continuing our series here on UKRI and the individuals involved in their EDI expert advisory group, as these people are in control of £7 billion of government funding. And I think that what they are doing will interfere with serious research in STEM and other serious subjects. So we've already done a number of things, which is we've looked at Dr. Lexi Webster, Jessica Corner, and Dr. Aaron Verma in our journey. So today we turn our attention to Dr. Dibyesh Annand, who is another one who is involved in the EDI advisory group, which are telling UKRI what they should do in terms of EDI, right? So remember, EDI it only exists to interfere. It's a load of bloody nonsense. It's all about mad leftist cultural Marxist ideas. So I'm intrigued to see whether or not we're going to get anybody in this EDI advisory group who's got the bottle to tell these bunch of clowns where to go. So let's have a look. There's the list as usual, which you can see there, the EDI advisory board. I'm working my way down it. Next one is Professor Ilaria Boncori. But for today, we're going to deal with this chap, which is Dibyesh Annand. Now, who is he? Well, we can see an example of Dibyesh's work here before we go headlong into take a look at his experience and what he's been up to. So you can see here that Annand Dibyesh, in 2012, he wrote China and India, Post-Colonial Informal Empires in the Emerging Global Order, which asks us to think about whether or not is he involved in decolonization efforts? Is he involved in discussions around reparations, that type of thing? And then note it says, rethinking Marxism. Oh dear. The recent debates with and beyond Marxism around empire and imperialism, all the type of stuff that we know these people tend to be involved in. So what's his experience exactly? Well, here we can see we're working backwards. He's Deputy Vice Chancellor for Global Engagement and Employability at the University of Westminster, and has been so for 1 year and 3 months. Before that, he was Professor of International Relations, Interim Deputy Vice Chancellor, Head of School of Social Sciences, Head of Department of Politics and International Relations, Reader in International Relations, Associate Lecturer at the Open University for 7 years, and prior to that, he was at the University of Bath. His education at the University of Bristol was Doctor of Philosophy, PhD in Politics, University of Hull, a Master of the Arts in International Law and Politics, and originally a Bachelor of the Arts from St. Stephen's College in Delhi. So it's safe to say this guy's involved in humanities of one sort or another, with a bent towards the social sciences and all the other stuff that we know is quite problematic. Is that one of their words? Problematic. Hello. It's so problematic, right? So here we go. Here he is. Stay queer, he says there. As you can see a picture of him saying stay queer. And then on his X profile, he's been promoting things like what you can see on the left there for this June month of Pride, the EDI Open Forum. There's one there, neurodiversity celebration. You know as well as I do, neurodiversity is a term straight out of queer theory, designed to complicate individual diagnoses for those that are not well. And then Beyond Borders, celebrating resilience and leadership. Westminster Conversations, queering academia, really. You've come to queer academia, have you? And then Pride Breakfast and London Pride March on the 5th of July, 2025. So it looks like he's one of the usual suspects that we've come to know. But what about his Twitter feed? Can we see anything there? Well, we can indeed. So from December the 13th, 2021, here he is replying to Priyamvada Gopal, a renowned wokist, an absolute horror show. Right-wing gays, he says, are indeed far away from being queer. Do you think? I think you'll find, Dibyesh Annand, that most gays are far away from being queer because we know what queer means and we know what queer theory means and we understand what you're up to. It says here, he's promoting here Gopal. He's promoting Gopal here, who is she's incredibly well known for being an insane wokist, right? Then we've got him engaging here on July the 23rd, 2023, when someone says, oh, but science is objective, when urged to decolonize or diversify, remind them how racism was integral to how scientists functioned. So in other words there, he's admitting that he wants to decolonize science by tearing it to pieces, which is all EDI does. I am hoping you're getting this by now, that EDI cannot be saved. It is a nonsense thing and it needs to be destroyed. He's responding there to Uche Blackstock, who said in 1851, Dr. Samuel Cartwright, a white psychologist and surgeon practicing in Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi, publicly announced the discovery of what called drapetomania, a disease that makes enslaved black people want to escape or otherwise resist. So obviously somebody there discovered a lunatic, and this guy says, when you say science is objective, in response to somebody uncovering a lunatic, he thinks it's something profound. And then you've got him on the right-hand side there from August the 5th, 2023. It's official. I shall be the interim deputy chair for employability and global engagement at the university. So really very serious position in the university. And then he's got underneath that, affirmative action for queer, asks somebody, to which he says, sadly not, affirmative action is illegal in the UK. So he's a fan of discrimination. He wants affirmative action, which means that you can discriminate against certain classes of people. In his case, it would be whether they're queer, black, Asian, whatever it may be that everyone wants to come up with. So we've got a full-on decolonisation nut job here, I think. Isn't that right, Dibyesh? You let me know. If you're not a nut job, I'd like to know, because from what I'm seeing, it looks like you are a full-on nut job. So we've got all that going on. But again, then he's at it again. So we've got here, the only way to queer academia is to do so intersectionally. Right, so here we go. So we've got a queer intersectional decolonizer who is responsible for recruitment at the University of Westminster. It's utterly surreal, isn't it? So Queer Intersectionality Day there, you can see, that was from 2023. And then in 2024, July, he's still supporting Black Lives Matters. One of our established EDI work at Uni Westminster, Black Lives Matter commitment. 4 years on, while being in public, we don't shy away from acknowledging that challenges remain. Our resolve to fill the commitment only goes stronger. So he's still supporting the debunked fraud that was Black Lives Matter in July of last year. And this guy is responsible for recruitment. And then he's got written underneath that, this is hilarious, I read somewhere the Royals support Black Lives Matter. But what constrains them from saying this aloud? Can you imagine how significant it'd be if the Queen says, we are learning, we are listening, we want to build an anti-racist UK, Black Lives Matter? Right, there's only one Queen speaking, dear, and it sounds like it's you, right? Gay man to gay man, what you doing, Dibyesh? What you doing with this bullshit? Really, honest to God. Again, let's go back to him staying queer, shall we? Remember, stay queer. Very important that you stay queer in this arena. As many point out, all Black Lives Matter, including that of queer ones, somebody was stabbed because he was seen as visibly queer and black. I don't know what that story was about. But we've got him then decolonising the mind of the state. Here we go. It's just, what is this about? What is this about? Deconstructing his own identity as queer. Annand explores the meaning of queering post-coloniality and its importance. Hell-bent on questioning well-defined norms. He really is a full-on queer, isn't he? Annand talked of queering the post-colonial with a 3-step process. He asked the audience to queer the self. Unqueer the queer, he said, focusing on challenging imposed identities. Redefining the term from its heteronormative lens. The second step involves queering the nation, which involves an important understanding of formation of nations that is based on a stark differentiation of the self and the other. This is a full-on Marxist, queer, intersectional, post-colonial, Black Lives Matter nut job working in Westminster University in a very high position. That's what this is. That's what it is. The final step involves decolonising the state of mind, an excruciating process involving more unlearning than learning, where one has to acknowledge the coloniality but not affirm it. That's straight out of White Fragility. That's pure Robin DiAngelo, pure Ibrahim X. Kendi. This is a Marxist, queer, intersectional, decolonise. This is the whole works right here. This is number 3 on the list of people that we're exploring in this EDI group that is advising UKRI, who have £8 billion worth of our money. This is only the 3rd one down. And look what I found. Not one of them yet, in my mind, is in any way qualified to be involved in this level of discourse. That's in my mind. But you let me know in the notes. I'm sure you will. You're not usually backward in coming forward. So have a good day. I shall see you later. Let's keep exposing these clowns. Ta-ra!